Guys, it's time to stop the CWD madness, and it's time that we manage our herd as residents, as farmers, as out-of-towners. It doesn't matter who you are, we got to come together. What blows me away is, I'm on groups on Facebook, and I post my video from last week, and I got so many people talking about how, oh, that's not true, and, the conservation department's here for the people, and all kinds of different stuff. And they ask for proof. Give me the proof. Give me the proof. And it's like you're on a Facebook group and these people are posting proof all day long. Okay? Just scroll. Okay? You can legitimately find the proof on there. They've already found the proof for you. Stop CWD madness on Facebook. And guys, there's so much information on there. Okay? So don't get on to people's posts or videos and say, show me proof, show me proof. You're, basically calling people that are making the content, trying to spread the word, idiots, because you won't take the time to do the research yourself and find out what the hell is actually happening. Okay, so, but yeah, guys, this is ridiculous. You got to get on there. You have to start doing your research, okay? But to get back on our subject, I honestly feel, guys, that there's only 3 things we need to have a healthy deer herd. Strong genetics, healthy breeding, and an honest conservation would be huge. Okay, I hear so many people, the conservation are going out, they're culling and they're testing, culling and testing. You know how much money it costs to send 2 agents out and, kill the deer. First off, that's horrible. You're killing all the genetics that are on that piece of property or in that area, and they may be the best genetics. Okay, deer farmers, they have found a genetic genotype that legitimately they feel, and Texas A&M feels, that will never catch CWD. They did the same thing in sheep, okay? And it's crazy that there is this out there, but the conservation department won't do the research, and they won't implement all this stuff. There's dart guns, they could go out, they could, they do it in Africa, okay? They dart an animal, they could take samples, okay? They could take samples, see what the genotype is of some of these deer in certain areas, because I'll be honest with you, we have killed out everything that's of any size or any genetics anyway. So they all are probably bred so tightly together. You go out and you test a few deer in one area, take the blood samples, find out what their genotype is, and that would probably tell you if that herd in that area could ever catch CWD anyway. Okay, you don't have to go in and just wipe them out. Okay, or if you did go in and you killed 1 or 2 deer, 3 deer, even 10 deer, in like 10 square miles, and had their genotype tested, you could legitimately find out, after a few years of doing this, kind of what they would be made up of, and what their genetic markers would be, and you would know what kind of deer you have in that area. And they know, as deer farmers, what is very susceptible and what most likely will never catch it. Okay, so there is science behind all of the stuff all of the CWD, all of the stuff that they're doing right now. There is so much science behind it, and they're not doing it. They just go out and just hunt over corn, use optics. It's crazy. But don't get on people's posts and tell them they're nuts and that it's all a conspiracy and all this stuff. It's like, no, it's just normal conservation practices. It's all across the country. Get on, look up the conservation websites, find out what they're doing. They have meetings that they're doing this year. So many meetings. I can post it on here and put it on the video. But you can go and speak your mind, okay? And people do. I know all kinds of people that go and they speak their mind, and everybody tells them that they don't like it. They don't want them going in and culling. They don't want this. They don't want that. But they answer to nobody. Okay, so yes, they'll sit down, they'll listen to you. They may even tell you, yeah, you have some good points and you may be right, but they don't give a shit. They're not going to do what you want. They already have an agenda. Okay, they know exactly what they want to do. Okay, so you don't have to call people out on Facebook and tell them they're liars. You can just scroll up and down. Like I said, you can get on Stop CWD Madness. I'm sure that Alan Morris, if you messaged him on here and asked him a few questions, he knows a lot about CWD, and he would definitely most likely talk to you. I would imagine. I think he would rather talk to you than you know post all kinds of stuff on the Stop CWD Madness page and call people liars and call people out on stuff you have no clue about because you have not done your research. But yeah, us as a group, the hunters in general as a group have to come together. Okay, if you're not going to come together, and you don't know anything about what you're talking about or anything like that, you just, basically, I feel like so many people just want to argue, and that's not what we need. That's not what we need today. Okay, a hurdle I thought we would never cross is deer farmers and deer hunters. Okay, and that hurdle has been crossed, and so many people have realized that deer farmers did not cause this. This was something that has been around since the 50s. Okay, I don't know how many deer you've eaten or how long this has been in Missouri, but I'm just saying, we could have been eating this stuff for a very long time, and nobody's ever gotten sick. They do not have one report of a person having any side effects from CWD meat. Okay, I seen one thing on here today that said one of the guys said that they had the stuff turned in and they never got the results back. My question to everybody is, if this is how this is going to work from here on out, what is everybody's thought on CWD? What is, how many states have implemented CWD testing, and how is this decimating your herd? There's people on here constantly, just talking about how they're not getting any pictures, or they're getting pictures of 1 or 2 deer, and there's been multiple deer on the property in the past. I even read something the other day that said that CWD is causing farms. People are trying to sell their farms, and if there's been CWD close, big deer help sell farms. Anybody that's in a rural area knows that, if you have killed some massive deer on your property, that will help sell your property to a lot of people. And the conservation department is legitimately pushing CWD so hard that it is affecting people when they're trying to sell farms. It's just crazy. It's madness, guys. They're literally hurting people in more aspects than just, CWD, is going to kill the whole deer herd. Well, they've never found a whole deer herd that has been killed by CWD. And as far as I know, there has never been one case that a deer has died from CWD. Now, they have been killed and tested positive for CWD, but there's never been a deer die from CWD. And that's the biggest thing right now is, oh my gosh, it's going to kill every herd out there and all this stuff. And it's just a bunch of bullshit. But definitely, guys, like I said, the Stop CWD Madness page, there's a few admin, I believe. Alan Morris, I like to read a lot of his stuff. But definitely, get out there, do your research before you try to make people look like idiots, because I can promise you that there is people out there that know so much about CWD, and they have all the proof in the world. All you got to do is ask and look for it. You don't have to act retarded, and you don't have to come onto these pages and call people liars and stuff like that. We got to stick together as deer hunters, farmers, ranchers. Everybody has to stick together, and they want us to be divided. That's what they do. That's their thing. Their agenda is that they want to kill as many of these deer as they can possibly kill. And, nobody knows the full extent of their agenda or why they're doing this, but it's not CWD. They're not doing this because of CWD, guys. So open your eyes to what's really going on. And, that's the other thing. You guys, we have the right to not have our deer tested. Okay. If you want to get a deer mounted, you just tell them, I want to get the deer mounted. They won't test your deer for the simple fact they got to tear the cape up. Be sure that whenever you go to your taxidermist or your meat processor, ask them, hey, are you going to have the lymph nodes tested in my deer? And if they say, yeah, we'll probably have them tested, then tell them either you don't want them tested, or you can't. Don't do that. I don't want it. Or take them somewhere else, guys. There's so many processors out there that, they're just local. They're just local people. They're just like you and me trying to make a dollar. I used to do taxidermy work, and the conservation department would come in and ask, hey, well, have you, their biggest thing is trying to get people to turn other people in. They don't believe in doing their homework. They don't believe in investigating stuff. They believe in, what, if you tell us that, who killed these deer or whatever and was poaching, then we won't arrest you for doing this or that. It's back and forth, guys. They don't want to do no work. Okay. And it's bullshit. People turning people in, we trust our taxidermists. They do great work, and next thing you know, they're turning in their lymph nodes, and like these guys on here, some of them are like, well, we didn't even get the results, so they don't even know if their deer had CWD or not. And it's just a big, it's just one, like I said, it's their agenda. We don't really know what they're planning on doing. But what they're doing isn't working. So if they're trying to help the deer herd, it's not happening, guys. So, do your research before you get on Facebook and just start, laying into everybody. It's just not right. All right. A lot of these guys, they, like I said, Alan Morse, he's posting every day, sometimes a couple times a day. They're really giving a lot of their time to, get this out there and let people see the proof. I mean, the proof of why this is such a big deal, and why they're killing the deer herd, not CWD. They've killed so many deer. CWD will never reach the number of deer that they killed. Okay, so guys, we appreciate you. If you're still on here from the beginning, please like our page and everything, like our channel. Go to Trophy Trail Outdoors on Facebook, and thanks for coming and being a part of this. All right, thanks, guys.